Hey everybody, welcome to the 44th episode of the Let's Talk With You podcast. Our guest today is Selina the Wunderkat.
Hi!
And we did a lot of things this evening. We talked about your cosplay, your love of science, what you're studying, and some wonderful movies that we love to hate.
And we also talked about Zootopia, 90s cartoons, allegory in cartoons, and just kind of how that relates to Get Out and Zootopia. We also talked about comic books. I mean, just a whole bunch of nerdy stuff. Cons.
That's true, and as usual, there's always more. So hope you all enjoyed the episode and follow Selina the Wunderkat on her adventures.
Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the Let's Talk With You podcast.
Watch it ASAP.
You need to watch.
But
you need to watch them right now.
I know. I was watching the marathon though, and that was definitely bringing me back.
What?
Definitely, but I unfortunately fell asleep before the actual episode.
Wait. There was a marathon on Cartoon Network, or
there was Adult Swim was actually streaming all of the episodes throughout the day, or at least a good bunch of them.
I didn't
like through the late afternoon. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I was hyped for that, and I was watching that, and then I had the bright idea to eat the rest of my ice cream cake because it was my birthday 2 Saturdays ago, I guess. So I was just like, I have to finish this ice cream cake, and so I was just like, okay. So I ended up falling asleep, but I have to rewatch it. I've heard great things. I've heard it is a fantastic return.
I watched it, but I was live tweeting it, and so I know I missed some parts, but there was just some things that came up where I was like, are they really going that route? I mean, I don't want to give spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, because you need to watch it again. But
yes, we'll do.
Like the villain of the episode, I was like, are they really trying to portray a certain actor? Because that's one thing I loved about Jack, which was like they could make references to like a lot of classic comedies or certain actors in their episodes, or like maybe like a Macho Man Randy Savage type character or something like that. And it's like people of a certain age will get it. Kids maybe not so much, but they'll think it's funny.
But well, I mean, you could kind of argue that with a lot of the 90s cartoons, like even Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory. Rewatching them, I don't know, my 5th time now in my later age, I guess, later 20s. I find a lot of pop culture references that I can now pick up just in retrospect because of things that I've been exposed to, or music I later started listening to, or films that I later got into, after I kind of passed the little kid years. And those episodes became more enjoyable because I picked up on more of the jokes.
Right.
So
it's kind of like,
if they watch 20 years from now, I mean, they'll probably pick up on more stuff.
True. I mean, have you seen the movie Airplane before?
Airplane?
Yes.
Oh, it's a long time ago, but I have seen it.
Because that's one of those, like, I guess you could say, like, cult classics that is chock full of like jokes there. It's very timely. Because like I know there's like one joke where I think it's when the plane hasn't taken off yet, and they're doing like a coffee commercial or something, and my mom told me that commercial that they were doing was kind of popular back then. I said, okay, and I didn't know it, but you can catch on to things of like, okay, this thing was popular, that's why it's in the movie. But you're right, and like 90s cartoon shows like Animaniacs or Reminiscing.
Oh, absolutely, Animaniacs.
Rocko's Modern Life, that was very adult, but
shows I don't understand how my mom let me watch, but
same here. Well,
yeah.
Why is Rocco working in the phone sex hotline? We will never know. But
to pay for all of his subscriptions to comics, because I'm sure that his boss at the comic store didn't give him a discount and abused him, poor thing. Rocco was just always like very much abused. Like at every job that he was just kind of the universal pushover. But
that is true.
But I loved his dog Spunky, so his life didn't suck that much because he had an adorable dog.
True, and why was his best friend named Heifer who was a cow? Still weird. I never quite got that one, but okay.
It's funny because Heifer is, characterized as a male character, but I believe Heifer is sort of like a slang for a female cow. So I wonder if that was if his parents, like, remember, like, his dad was sort of, like, emotionally abusive. Maybe that's where, like, the nickname kind of came from, like, you're a girl, like, you're weak.
I never thought about that, but okay.
Yeah, if you remember, like, one of Heifer's origin story episodes where, like, they talk about, like, that he's, like, raised by wolves and his dad is always, like, berating him. That's kind of where I picked that up from. I didn't pick that up as a kid, but as an adult, in college when I was rewatching the shows when I had, like, nothing to do, I definitely picked up on a lot of that stuff. Maybe it's all the psychology, but yep.
It's been a very long time since I watched Rocco. I need to go get the DVDs. I've seen them at Walmart for like $20, complete series. So I might as well treat myself to that at some point.
I highly recommend it.
I bought Hey Arnold and have made that very slow binge to Hey Arnold, which I haven't gotten very far yet. But that's another show of. I was reading an article a few days ago about like 15 reasons why Hey Arnold dealt with like it was basically a show about depression and other issues. As like from what I remember watching it really did. So.
I mean, Lila's family, like, they were straight up destitute. Like, the dad really did wonder, like, if he was gonna have to give her the only can of beans that they had, and they kind of play it comically, almost like it's so funny. But it's so funny in that it makes you uncomfortable. Like, they're really in dire straits, and of course, you got all the subtleties with Helga's mom, and
yes,
she definitely had a lot of alcohol dependency issues.
And then you had Mr. Wynn, who gave up his daughter so she could get out. She could escape the Vietnam War.
Oh my gosh, that episode! That was a good one.
Yeah, but I know we could talk about '90s everything all day. We'll get back to that, but
for sure.
Selina the Wunderkat. What is your origin story? Because I know, we got to do cosplay and everything, but and we can talk about how we all met initially if you want to. But what is your origin story? Like your name, how did you get into cosplay, the geek culture, everything?
Wow. Okay, that's going to take a thesis, but I will summarize it the best I can. So, Selina is actually a reference to my real name, and it's also a reference to Selina Kyle, who we all know as Catwoman. And I've always had an affinity for, black cats. A lot of people would say that, black cats are bad luck, or black cats are the least, adopted, or people think that they're scary or evil. And I never thought that. I always thought they were very mysterious and beautiful and smart and, cunning, but they also sort of, took more to themselves. And so I was kind of attracted to them in that sort of route. Like, I kind of felt like a little bit of a kindred spirit, just because my sort of outer self, I guess I'm more like Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, but inner self, I'm kind of more of like this kind of, I guess I'm more like of an introvert. So that's kind of where the black cat sort of comes in the character. But in terms of the origin story, I mean, even just when I was kind of thinking about the character, growing up, I was really, really shy, and I was really, like, afraid of a lot of people. And I always used to look up to, like, superheroes, especially, like, Catwoman and Poison Ivy and, the so-called, like, sirens of DC, because they were so badass, but they were also so unapologetic and very much in control of who they are and what they wanted to do. So, Selina was a little bit of, like, a kind of homage to that, and then Wunderkat is sort of like almost like wonder, like in the kind of English sense, like kind of a reference to superheroes and that kind of route too. It was kind of a nickname that someone very close to me gave me, and it kind of stuck. Like kind of like a wonderkin, like a really smart, kind of extraordinary, eccentric kind of person. So that's where the Wunderkat came from.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been sitting on that character, for a while. I've been cosplaying on and off since actually 2009. But I didn't really start really getting into it and cosplaying on a semi-regular basis until last year around this time. Actually, I decided for my birthday that I really wanted to change, and I wanted to kind of work on my confidence, and I thought maybe sort of bringing out my alter ego and finding opportunities to kind of play her out may translate into upping my confidence level and sort of like my Clark Kent persona. So that's kind of where she was born.
Okay.
Yep.
So, what was your first cosplay?
My first cosplay, well, that was again in 2009, and I cosplayed Yomiko Reedman from Read or Die. Not sure, most people haven't heard of it. It's more of an obscure anime, but basically, she is a librarian with superpowers.
Okay.
And
I'm intrigued.
And yeah, she's really great because she actually can control paper and she can turn paper into weapons. So it was sort of like this OVA. I think if you look on YouTube, it's probably still there. Again, very obscure, but she's like half British, half Japanese. And she's librarian and like she solves mysteries and fights crime like using the paper. They actually nickname her the paper. So she's got like big kind of Velma Dinkley like glasses, and she wears like a trench coat, and she wears sort of like a suit and tie. And I thought that she was just really cool, and she's kind of more of like representative of my outside persona. So I thought that that would be like a really easy character to cosplay for my first ever cosplay. And then shortly after that, because this also coincided with my first con, which was MegaCon in Orlando, Florida, I ended up cosplaying Misa Amane from Death Note because every cosplay chick cosplays her at some point. She's just really fun and crazy and out there, and you can pretty much just go to like thrift stores and say, I want all black everything, and boom.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
Hey, that goes to the show to tell people that you can do this. You can find things to make your cosplay dreams come to life. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars to make something happen.
No, you don't. You don't. I mean, some cosplays I've made have cost me as little. In fact, I even tallied up the receipts. They cost me $4.50. I made a last minute Alex D. Large cosplay from Clockwork Orange, kind of like a gender bent sort of thing. And I just went to the thrift store. I was living in San Francisco at the time and bought everything like within 2 hours. It wasn't even too much because a lot of stuff I had at home, I already had like the boots, I already had fishnets, I already had overalls. Really, I just needed a long sleeve shirt and a bowler hat, which I got for like 90 cents at the thrift store. So you'd be surprised. I am not very good at sewing. So I get really, really crafty in the closet and thrifting and, Amazon and just kind of buying things on sale. And sometimes I end up just buying things for the heck of it with sort of like I'll probably end up turning that into a cosplay sometime. And I end up doing it. My favorite part, of course, is when I work some of my cosplay pieces into my regular wardrobe and how it kind of just fits so seamlessly depending on what it is. I always kind of get a chuckle like walking to work like that. Like I'm wearing like the Connie from Steven Universe skirt, but like a blazer, so I kind of look like a normal person, that sort of thing. So that's always a lot of fun.
Yes, it's like you're cosplaying on the go or casual cosplay, and people can't tell what you're doing, but you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and it kind of gives you like a little, confidence boost. It's kind of like when people may wear like, Superman shirts like under their button downs or something. Just confidence boost. Maybe you've done it at some point.
Yeah, I did that last week at work.
Oh, see, there you
I
go.
wore like like a maroon plaid shirt and kind of wore like I wore some dress pants, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And one person saw my shirt and like, so you Superman for the day? I was like, no. It's like, yeah, like, yeah, sure, yeah, okay, fine. But yeah, I think it's fun. Like, I try to play on the whole like Superman. Who's that? No, not me. Okay, doing that for you got to create your own fun.
Definitely. I mean, especially on those days where it's just like the 9 to 5 or at school or at work. If you can incorporate a little bit of fun, a little bit of creativity, I think it really, ups your mood, ups your confidence. I mean, sometimes I think there was one time for a presentation I had to do for class, I wore She-Hulk colors. And I have like this little makeup compact that actually like it's She-Hulk on the cover of it, and I carry it to update my makeup, and I really felt that it helped my performance. So, but nobody knew because it was just so subtle. They're just like, oh well, Selina's just wearing purple and green. Okay.
Actually, I was trying to think. I was trying to think. What are Jen's colors? That's right. She's purple and green. That's right. I couldn't think of
She is.
her color
Yeah.
scheme.
Yeah.
Speaking of She-Hulk, I have to say this since you said that. We gotta get the word out there. People, Jen is Bruce's cousin. They're not dating. I just feel like I had to say that.
That's right. Wait, people don't know that? People don't know that?
Some people don't know that. I remember, I mean, I can forgive it on stuff like Who's On It anyway when they make jokes. Like, since Who's On can just make whatever jokes and I'm cool with that.
Right.
But I think there was one from an episode from this past season. It was like Hulk and She-Hulk going on a date or something like that. And I was like, wait, but they're cousins. And I'm getting out of the joke because I know that they're cousins. And like, no, this is wrong.
You know what? I'm sorry to go, but I have to blame somebody for that. And I think I know who to blame. Jenny Tartakovsky is to blame because his Avengers parody, Just as Friends, there was that episode with She-Thing, and that she became Krunk's love interest. Now, really, she's sort of like an allusion to She-Hulk just based on, well, I mean, she's really like sort of a mashup of She-Hulk and Hulk, but at the same time, I could see how people would sort of get confused. Of course, people also sometimes forget, because I've actually heard this, that She-Hulk is actually sentient and she's of complete sound mind, when she's hulked out. And that's the difference between her and her cousin. And I always used to make fun of my own cousin when we would watch the series, voiced fabulously by Cree Summer, and say that, yeah, well, at least like my brain's still intact, and you're all like, ah! So, but I digress.
Yeah. I forgot about Just as Friends. Oh Lord.
Just as Friends.
What was it? The Incredible Crawl. No, wait. I forgot the names. Oh Lord. Major Glory.
The Incredible Crunk, Major Glory, Valhallen.
Valhallen. That's right. It's
yep.
So you get a Purple Hulk, a Rockstar Thor, and a very do-gooder-ish more Captain America with a cape.
Basically, Captain America turned up to 11.
Yes.
Yes.
And then let's talk about Dexter for a second. How
sure.
See, I say we're going to just jump around. So, probably one of the best episodes of the series is when they had to form like the family Voltron episode.
Yes. Oh my god. Yes, that was so great.
And Monkey, Dexter found out about Monkey, and then Major Glory. I think was Major Glory in it, or is it just Monkey? I'm probably thinking. I forgot.
I think it was just Monkey. I don't remember Major Glory being in it.
I just remember when the parents found out. I was like, "Oh, that was fun."
Oh, that was so much. That was such a great episode. Because I think growing up, or even just the viewers, whatever age they were always wondering, like, what if the parents really found out? And I like that they were able to kind of give us, that answer. Mm-hmm. The Monkey episodes, of course, were some of my favorite side episodes.
Yes, it's Monkey and Agent Honeydew.
Mm-hmm. Cosplay goals. One of these days, that'd be awesome.
Do it.
Yeah, but it was actually really fun cosplaying Dexter. Like, I definitely want to do a little bit of improvement to the cosplay, but I had a lot of fun with it because it was so, recognizable. And being a scientist myself, IRL, like, that was really fun to do.
You beat me to the transition question. That's good. Okay, good.
It's okay.
No,
I'm reading your mind.
Because what was the feedback you got from people seeing you cosplay Dexter?
Oh wow, I mean, there are some people that wouldn't get it right away, and then I would end up seeing them again, and then they would like see my sign because I made up a sign that said, what a fine day for science," and they'd be like, "Oh my god, she's Dexter! Oh, I get it." And there were other people that like would get it right away, and like they would just kind of like cheer, and that was really cool. And then sometimes I'd also hear people like, "Wait, is she cosplaying one of the twins from Johnny Test?" I got a little bit of that too, but you know, it's not a con if some people guess your cosplay wrong.
No, you know, and I know you see them, like doing like how side, but no, there's nothing wrong. At least like they're in the ballpark.
Yeah, but I definitely got a lot of good feedback, and you know, some people like asked to take a picture, and that was really fun. And I ran into like one of like those people in like the raptor costumes, and he was actually like he actually wore a lab coat with that cosplay. So I was like, "Can we take a picture?" And it was really great. That was like my profile picture for weeks.
Mm-hmm. So it brings me to an interesting point. Like bringing what you do, like, in your regular life to cosplay. How did that go hand in hand in terms of picking Dexter, or were you just a fan of Dexter and went to cosplay Dexter? I'm just curious.
You know, it's kind of sort of a chicken before the egg sort of thing. I mean, because I'm dating myself, but watched Dexter. I watched the first episode of Dexter, you know, with his whole remote control and like changing DD into like different animals and stuff. The 1995 What a Cartoon Show. That was my first introduction to Dexter. And I remember just mind blown. Like, this show is amazing. And I thought that that was so cool. And looking back in hindsight, I'm wondering, like, between Dexter and Bill Nye and Beatman and all of that, like, maybe that inspired me to become a scientist. I mean, maybe so, because I also ended up cosplaying Professor Utonium, so gender bent, of course. And that was another thing, like growing up, you know, I'd always been very much exposed to like science and reading, and my family are kind of like a bunch of academics, so I think it was sort of inevitable. It's sort of like they kind of cross each other. Like either they influenced me or I got influenced from the show. But either way, that was just really kind of fun to, you know, like some people like ask, like, "Are you a real scientist?" And I would say, "Yeah, I actually am." I don't blow stuff up, but I do a kind of science.
I mean, you don't have a rival named Mandark next door to your house, do you?
No, last time I did have an annoying neighbor, but he lives below me.
Okay, got you. Okay, just want to make sure.
But no, next door first, yeah.
But
But it was a treat to have one of my very good friends, and actually who used to be my cosplay rival from a long time ago. Now we're really, really awesome friends, and she did cosplay Mandark with me for Dragon Con, and that was epic. Just kind of for that to come like full circle.
hmm. So
Mm-hmm.
so what type of I know it's like the very generic question, but what field of science are you studying?
So generally speaking, I'm in the social sciences, and I'm studying developmental psychology. So I'm looking at sort of how people are psychologically affected across the lifespan. So that could be anywhere from infants to people who are 95 years old.
Okay.
Just kind of like, how do they change? How do they react to their environment? How do the ways that they react to their environment kind of influence their interactions with other people and perceptions of themselves and what they can do? It's the most general way I can put it.
Okay. So so what is it that you hmm this just brings me to like I can ask you mind if I pick your brain, do you?
No, I
No.
pick people's brains all day.
Oh, okay. Hmm. So I know it's like dead air because I'm thinking. Apologize, internet, because I'm probably will not cut this up. I'm thinking. Let's see. So I guess I'll start with the enjoyment factor question. Like, what is it that you enjoy about studying people? Or do you
I
get
think because people. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, or do you,
um,
or is that, or is that like something you enjoy doing, or is it just kind of like comes with the territory?
well, I mean, around the time that I was soaking up all of those 90s, cartoon Fridays, I was very much fascinated by people because at the time I was very, very shy kid. And sometimes what I would do is, even though I was an avid reader and I've always been a bookworm, sometimes I would fake reading just so I could observe people, especially just sort of like social interactions. Like, okay, who's going to like be picked first for, kickball and why? And I would kind of study people like, well, they're a little taller, or they seem to be buffer, or they seem to have a soccer jersey, so they seem to play ball all the time. Maybe that's what's influencing them to be picked first. Just sort of questions that I would sort of ask in my head like that. So I've always just been sort of like a lifelong um, observer. And for a while in college, I did some customer service work, and that was a lot of fun because I literally got to study people all the time, like on the phone, like just kind of picking up like the subtleties and changing their tone. Like if you said something that they liked versus something they didn't like, or my personal favorite when they started out being upset and frustrated, and then I was able to help them and they got all happy and their cadence and their tone changed completely. So that was always kind of cool.
Nice. So you are, I guess
Mm-hmm.
they would call you like a professional people watcher or observer.
Yeah, I should put that on a card. Professional people watcher. Yeah, I still do. Actually, sometimes like when I'm at the airport or even at cons, if I'm just sitting by myself, like because friends went to the restroom or whatever, I will study people. I'll study them in their cosplays, think about maybe what may have motivated them to pick that character, or you know anything like that. Just seeing friends interact or couples interact. I mean, all of that's really fascinating because people are such interesting random creatures that we'll never run out of asking questions about them. So I think that's why I'm in the field that I'm in and not like in a straight up like literal science field where, they use like Bunsen burners and word lab coats and all of that.
That's true, because when you think of the word a scientist, people think you're making something with chemicals and explosions and
Yes.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yes.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm very good friends with some of those scientists, but no, science is a lot more includes it expands beyond that, and all of that science of course is needed and important, but there are many different kinds of scientists. I mean, there's actually a science of law, believe it or not.
I did not know that.
The more you know. Yeah.
Just, yeah, the more you know. Yes, that. Hmm.
Oh yeah, I totally did the rainbow thing with my hands,
We both just
or
did.
like the SpongeBob imagination.
Just
They kind of work both ways.
was it the whole SpongeBob like that? I can't remember. I can't.
It's like imagination.
Got you. Hmm. So you brought something up. You said something interesting. Going to cons and noticing people's interactions. Like, and I guess from your perspective, like, what is it that you see at cons? When you notice, like the curious child, or the happy-go-lucky couple, or group of friends, or like the one person, the one con goer that's by themselves. Like if you're like in the middle of the con by yourself, like what's like one of the first things you would notice?
Usually the people that I notice who be by themselves, like they're either, on their phone or they're on their, 3DS playing or something like that. Usually the people that I notice who they're not like alone, like sort of like creeping or looking around, but usually they're just trying to busy themselves in some device.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's either because they're not actually alone and they're just kind of killing time until other people come by, or maybe they don't want to be branded a con creeper and it's better to just sort of look busy. There are very few people where I've seen that are just sort of like standing there by themselves staring into space. Either they have a camera or they have their 3DS or they're looking at something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about my
Mm.
con I went to last year. Where the first day I was by myself, and it was kind of like, this is fun. Nah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been to a convention by myself, but unlike the shy kid that I used to be, cosplay culture and geek culture sort of like I found my people. So I found out that I'm actually more of an extrovert than an introvert. So even when I'm by myself at cons, like I find out that I just end up striking a conversation with people.
Yes.
Like sometimes I'll just go up in the dealer's room and I'll go to a booth and I'll make a comment about, someone's product, and then I'll end up being like talking to them for like an hour, like, oh, I hope I'm not like stealing any customers or but we just kind of talk like we're, old friends. Other times, I mean, it can be awkward when I was alone a little bit, especially like if they're, maybe my friends like left to go to another panel, but I usually end up either busying myself with my phone or, I start to people watch. I find as a female going to cons, like if you really do appear alone, then it may invite the actual con creepers who don't mean very well.
Yeah. The ones that don't really get the word no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that ask you like maybe 10 to 12 times the same question, they just reword it hoping that this is the way that you'll say yes. Yeah, that can be a thing.
Mm-mm. I'll tell you something when we finish talking.
Sure.
It's not about cons. It's other things in life. But yes, story time. But later.
Stay tuned.
But I think I'm learning more. I learned some interesting things so far this evening, and I'll also learn more about you. This is great because I guess I never bothered to ask you like what what part of what your like field of study was. Like I guess I admit like when you say science, I kind of thought okay she's a scientist, and I just didn't bother asking per se what it was.
What kind?
Right. Because
Yeah, that's okay.
no, I guess I always meant to ask, but I was like, eventually I'll ask, and eventually never came until now.
Well, usually I have to kind of lead with I'm a scientist because if I say that I'm, getting a doctorate in psychology, then people think, oh, you're going to put me on the couch, aren't you? Or can you diagnose my fiance? Like, can you read his mind and tell me like why he won't, do dishes on time or, things like that. And I sort of have to say like, no, like I'm on the research side. I think clinicians are really important, but I'm sort of doing the research that will inform said people who put you on the couch.
Okay, I know.
But thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah, it's like thinking. Although I went to school for a mass comm, I initially was a psychology major for a couple years. I don't think I ever told you this.
No, nope. This first time I'm hearing it.
Like, long roundabout way, when I was in 12th grade, registered in college, registered for things. I was an English major, taking psychology in 12th grade. I changed my major to psychology, and then finally taking psychology courses for 2 years was like, I'm not making A's in these courses. I feel like I'm wasting my parents' money, and I should probably change. But like I had the goal of wanting to become a counselor, but I didn't really like the research courses. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry. But
no, that's okay. Not everything's for everybody.
Like, I guess in my mind, I was thinking my goal is to be a counselor. Why am I taking these courses? And years later down the line, I realized why everything was in the inclusive courses are important because it helps define a platform for you to build upon. But
yes.
I think I was so dead set on like I just wanted to be there and have the desk and talk. And I was like, why am I taking statistics for psychology? And I didn't pass that course. And this is like, and then math isn't my greatest.
To be fair, that class is really hard, and it doesn't get better the more advanced courses you take.
No, that is the one course I will say I never retook because when I changed majors, they said it counted as an elective course. And I said, I'll keep that D. I'll keep it. But it was required to say if I had stayed a psychology major, I would have to have retaken it to get a C or better. And I was like, math is not my
Yeah.
is not my strong suit. This is a losing battle for me anyway. But
I think it's good that you recognize, what you're capable of, or even what you were no longer interested in.
mm-hmm.
I think some people sort of get in too deep and they're like, well, I've given so much of my college years to this field that I have no choice to stay.
Yeah,
And that's where it kind of sucks.
exactly. I mean, I had some friends that tried to encourage me to stay, but then they kind of turn around and say, well, if you're not enjoying it and you feel your passions elsewhere, go elsewhere. And then I did, and I mean, I still value psychology. I've never stopped valuing psychology. Like I always find the field of study to be intriguing and support those who are in it. It's just I knew that I could be better used somewhere else probably. But, sorry, I just turned this around to start talking about myself. I'm not supposed to do
No,
that.
no, that's fine because it's funny that you mentioned that because I remember when I first stumbled upon your cosplay page after you made that post about your weight loss and regimen and all of that. I actually read your cosplay page as Counselor D. I'm not even gonna lie, I had to rewrite this. Like, oh, is he a kind of counselor? Like, oh wait, no, it's Chancellor.
Huh.
Well, I definitely read that wrong. So I thought it's kind of funny now hearing that you were once interested in psychology.
And funny, like
That's very interesting.
like the most I do nowadays is more like if people want to talk about things, I will talk to them about it. And like I'm not well versed in a lot of the subjects, but if it's something, if I can just take to the side of, I'll listen and give you advice, or if I can really can't help you, you may need some more professional help, but I will try my best to help. And I think in that regard, that is me trying to be helpful, but like I'm not trained. I learned to listen, and I think in terms of like you do doing like this show, it's helped me to pay listen more.
Well, that's kind of what you're doing right now. Like, we're sort of having a council right now. I mean, I'm not telling you about all my bad feelings or anything, but, we're having a dialogue. Like, we're learning about one another. Like, that sort of counseling in itself. And I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a degree to listen to another person, but obviously for diagnoses and clinical purposes, then you would.
Exactly.
And actually, you need an MD.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to actually be an actual medical doctor to prescribe medicine. So you can only do so much at certain levels.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's kind of come to okay, listening to people talk about relationship woes or just advice about different things in life, and I'm like, I don't know how much I can be helpful on that one, but I'll try. And it's just because
sometimes it's not even about having the answers. Sometimes it's just being there and listening, and that person feeling like you're listening to understand and not listening to respond. As I just cut you off, which I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good because, no, you're good because you're right. That's what you're supposed to listen to understand and then offer advice if need be.
Yes.
But what is your ultimate goal once you finish school?
Gosh, wow. It feels like so long ago because I'm technically on the last years of school. But I really hope to get on the academic side. I really want to be a professor, and I want to have my own lab, and I want to teach.
Okay.
That's kind of what I want. I want to kind of be like my own Charles Xavier, not open up the school for gifted, but just sort of be in that sort of mentoring kind of capacity where, I use my intellect to sort of, open things up for questions and have students like question, who they are and what they know and what that means in terms of their impact for the universe.
Right.
So it's a lofty goal, and academia is hard to get into, but I've been checking on this for a while, so it's meant to be. Hopefully it'll be meant to be.
So are you getting like your master's now or a doctorate now or where
I'm getting my doctorate now.
Okay, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So how many more years?
It's going to be 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay. Gotcha.
Typical PhD programs are 5 to 6.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna keep encouraging you. I'll keep checking on you as I try to remind myself to check on people from time to time. So.
Social support is an underrated superpower. I really think, especially in just the way that the world is right now, people being supportive of one another has not been as needed as it is now.
Oh,
it's anecdotal, but that's kind of how I feel. Just like letting people know, like, hey, like you're not alone, or hey, I care, or hey, I'm a friend, or hey, keep doing what you're doing, even when you think that everything sucks and you want to give up. I think that we all need that as a people right now.
Exactly. And because we're in the still beginning. Well, could you say we're still in the beginning of 2017? Sort of. We're not.
I mean, we're kind of the lower end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
Because April will be 4 months in, which will be a third of the year. So yeah, we're getting there.
This year, people love to talk about 2016 and what that year was. This year, it's a little better, but in some regards, not so much. But
I'd agree with that.
yeah, but as long as you have your family, your friends, your support groups, your communities, whether it be like cosplay community or academics, your peers, whatever community you have, it's important to have one.
It is. It is. And sense of belonging is very important for survival. I mean, if you remember in your early psychology classes, you heard of Abraham Maslow's, needs.
Yes.
And one of like the first tiers after the basic needs or the need to belong. Really, that's the second tier. So.
The hierarchy of needs. Yes.
Yeah, Abraham Maslow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool dude.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like when it comes to like psychology and then the thing I dread, math. It's like every now and then I'll remember something and it's like, oh, because I'm not involved with it right now, I can think about it and it doesn't give me stress.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like, let's edit a paper, it's like, oh gosh, stress. And it doesn't even if it's like just for a friend or something or for work, it's like, okay. Or as I tell people now, like, if you may edit a paper, when is it due? Please don't say tomorrow, because then you're gonna make me rush. But I haven't edited a paper in about a week, almost 2 weeks ago. So, but it's nice. I mean, I'm thankful I can try and help people, and that's me giving back, trying to. But I think the day will come where I'm just like, I don't mind being tomorrow, but give it to me at least 12 hours out.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I mean, I definitely try to pick and choose how and when I can help people because sometimes I'm so busy with research and everything that I have to say, okay, if you want this, like you have to give me a week. If you don't want me to just like skim it and say, okay, it looks perfect. And even then, I would want you to send me a reminder maybe 2 days before you absolutely need it to make sure that I'm getting it done.
Yes.
And I think it's common courtesy, and I think it's fair on both sides. I mean, if you're asking for help and you want something to be done, but it's also still like your job to kind of follow up with the person you're asking for help.
That's true, and I would say one thing. I really appreciate you, checking in with me to say, okay, we're still in on schedule for recording today, and because I remember it in the back of my mind. I know we're going to talk tonight. We're going to talk at this time. I knew it, but then I saw your message today. I was like, yeah, there's like a follow up message. Like, I mean, I appreciate. It's like the little things.
I think that's the lab manager in me. In my lab, I sort of like help my boss, who's in science, it's like a PI, so a primary investigator, basically your mentor, person who manages the lab you're doing research in. But either way, I'm very much used to kind of sending like confirmation emails, because time is so precious that if something comes up and that leaves me time to do something else, then I'm going to take it. Or vice versa. If I say that I can't do anything and that leaves you time to do something else, then that's also good too. And sometimes it's also a, wow, I was doing so many things that I almost forgot that we were supposed to do a thing. And this shows that, you're showing courtesy and professionalism. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not even just to science. I mean, I think that's just a universal thing. In the days of like smartphones, when we are so inundated with all these distractions, I think keeping organized in terms of the appointments that we have is just everyday common sense now, or it definitely should be.
Oh yes, and then the thing called just leaving yourself notes. I mean, I think one of the things I don't know how I did this in school. I don't, to this day I still don't know how I managed every day of like having like papers to do and stuff. I would never write. I would write down like the due dates or write down and teachers would give us stuff, but I never write like down like in like a reminder of like a this is when to do. I would just remember it. And I don't know why I never took advantage of like a reminder by like the appointment books or anything. I had them, but I just never used them. I just remembered everything. It's like you should have used stuff to your advantage of like write down things so I won't have to remember all of it. But
I mean, if it's something that I'm really into doing, like, oh, I get to go shop for cosplay things, I don't need to write that down. But if I'm supposed to train a research assistant, I need to write that down. So both are sort of our passions, but they're orthogonal to one another. And one is sort of more easy to remember because there are not many moving parts. When it comes to appointments with either helping people or working with people or being interviewed by people, I find it's important for me to write it down. But if it's just something personal, unless of course it's going to the gym, I can usually remember.
Yeah, like it's funny you said going to the gym. Like, I exercise Sunday morning, but every day this week so far I've been walking. But I keep it in the back of my mind. Get up and do Tabu at like 5 in the morning. Well, you can't do that if you don't go to bed until like 1 or 12:30. Mm-hmm. So try again tomorrow. But yeah, you have to remind yourself these things. So
definitely.
But like completely okay. So I'm gonna jump around again.
Sure.
Because like I'm enjoying this. It's like I don't get to talk about like academic things much. So this was fun.
And I'm glad I was able to help.
It kind of makes me feel like, should I go back and get a master's?
I've had people, I've gotten that from people a lot, and there's a part of it that's like, no, run away. Because it's one thing to be all like, yeah, I'm getting a master's, yeah, I'm getting a PhD, but it eats your soul. And your boss and your professors watch you like the Eye of Sauron, and every day you ask yourself, like, I am happy doing this. I am happy doing this. Mm-hmm. Kind of like in The Force Awakens, like the Force is with me, like it's with me, it's with me, it's with me, it's with me. And you have to because there are just some days where you're just like, I'd be like, you get more upset than Dexter. Like there are days when I realize I'm a real scientist because I relate more with Mojo Jojo than the Powerpuff Girls. Like I'm now understanding his struggle. Like, yeah, you do just want stuff to work. You just keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying and then things don't work. Yep. I understand that feel, Mojo. Props.
It's just like that it's like that Dragon Ball Z joke where it's like, growing up you idolize Goku, but when you're older you realize Vegeta was better. It's like yeah. That's true. I mean, Goku wasn't really smart. But I'm not gonna bash Dragon Ball Evolution again, but I'm gonna say it one more time. Goku was not in high school. Why did y'all do that? But anyway, long
I don't even speak of that. I did not even pay money to see that film. I didn't even try to see it on bootleg or Netflix. I refuse.
I
couldn't do it.
I almost paid to see it. Almost paid. And like the last, I was outside the movie theater, decided to go see Monsters vs Aliens instead, and I enjoyed that movie.
Good choice. I still want my $12.50 from seeing Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh, we want to talk about
that. And I have to link you my PayPal and email. Like, you need to give me my $12.50 back because that was a mess.
We're not supposed to be a sequel to that or something at some point.
Not that I've heard of.
I guess because of how they left it open. But okay, I'll admit I've never finished watching Avatar. You can take me now. I'm sorry.
No, I can't. No, because remember, I still have to catch up on Samurai Jack, so we're even. Right. But either way, the ending was actually like forgettable to me. But I remember being this close to falling asleep because I was just so unimpressed.
Yeah, I get they crammed like a season's worth of material into like what almost 2 hours, but yeah, it could have been better. I only knew so much going into the movie, and then halfway through I was like, I know I don't know everything, but this is different. But
yeah, I mean, everybody talks about the race bending, and that's sort of where the origin of race bending kind of started. Like, that was sort of a direct allusion to Avatar and the casting. But I was also thinking, you know what, if you have to, not cast people of color, like, at least, make them do the characters justice. I mean, really, if you're trying to be like, well, Hollywood is not going to have that soul and whatever. But, I mean, Sokka wasn't even funny. And that bothered me to no end. Like, Sokka was the comic relief. He always had a clapback. He always had a witty retort. He was not funny.
No.
Sokka was not funny, and that bothered me throughout the whole film.
No, he wasn't.
Like, he was so hard to watch on screen. For all the screen time he got, he didn't crack one joke. It's sad.
I've only seen that movie one time, and I probably forgot most of it.
The only thing that they sort of did, to their credit, was the Southern Water Tribe arc that they tried to put in. Mm-hmm. That was actually very aesthetically pleasing, and that actually took a little bit more to the story, but it was sort of like they almost put all of the actual viable effort into that scene. And then it was the ending that I completely forgot because then they just went back to sucking. So, like, that scene was good, and that was it.
Yeah, it's like that. See, I vaguely remember it now. I'm starting to remember it. It's like I get cramming, trying to say, okay, we can pull 30 seconds here from this thing over here that you can recognize it and say, cool, they acknowledged it. But
yep.
There is such a thing, leaving something on the cutting room floor, which I know all too well, trying to appease everybody, but then you can't do it. And then where does it fail? So, how many years has that been? Was that 2010? So that's like 7 years.
That was 2010. Mm-hmm.
I've only seen it one time, and I forgot about it. But I forgot about most of that movie until now. Like, only thing I remember was like the ending of the movie of like the tsunami on the boat or something like that.
Something like that. I only saw it that one time when my then boyfriend and my friends and I went. And we went to the midnight showing, and we were all hyped for it. And there were actually even people who dressed up. And I was like, cosplay, that's awesome. I don't have anything, but either way, I'm happy to be here. And but it was just bad. We all walked out of the theater, and there was just sort of this pervading feeling of disgust and disappointment. It was like a wave. Almost like, Dementors were sort of there and just yeah, it was a little sad.
Speaking of the mentors, I still have a problem with one of the Harry Potter movies, of the ending of one of the movies.
Which one?
Well, it's and I've talked about this before on the show, so sorry listeners, but you'll hear it again. Um, the maze scene from Goblet of Fire. They let me down with that. Just because,
also, just summarize your critique really quickly.
Because the book had like Harry met with a Sphinx in the maze, and there's like I think it was like a giant spider, and it's like he had to solve puzzles and stuff. And then they were like, let's just have where the maze collapses on you and big gust of air, and somebody gets possessed, and we're done. And then there's the tournament, there's the cup, and gone. I mean, I get it for editing's sake, I get that, but I was really pumped to see like, how are they gonna do the Sphinx? How are they gonna do this? And then that. But I love the ending of the movie though.
Here's my No, I mean, the thing with Goblet of Fire and even the films that kind of followed through with it, you have to remember that there was so much more covered starting from the fourth book that it was very hard to make it parallel the books. Like when you got to the fourth book, it was just literally too much. So I forgave the third task of the Triwizard Tournament because I knew that they were just trying to get to the book key.
Yeah.
And for the movie's sake, to kind of just get people to get there and so he can do his thing, that's why they set it up. I do remember that they went into a lot of detail in the book, and that was really enjoyable. But what I finally did after seeing the fourth book and getting upset because they took out the Quidditch World Cup scene, which I'd always been looking forward to.
Same here.
Like since I read the book and knew that they were going to make a movie making the World Cup, like the actual Quidditch scene of them playing, I was actually looking forward to seeing footage of the World Cup, but they didn't have that. And so what I just said is, you know what? There's only so much that they can translate from the book, and it's better to just look at the movies as separate entities from the book.
Exactly.
And as a Ravenclaw, it was a lot easier on my sanity once I started to employ that practice, because as a Ravenclaw, we don't even have our mascot right. We don't have our colors right. They're completely different, even though we are literally by the book. That's what our house stands for. Warner Brothers will not give us our actual mascot and colors. And so I just decided, you know what? The movies are a separate entity from the books.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm also Ravenclaw too, although I need to take the official quiz on Pottermore. It's just I've taken the Facebook one several times, and I always get Ravenclaw. So I'm Ravenclaw. All right, I just gotta do the official quiz and get on that. But I can see you as a Ravenclaw.
Oh, it's still there. However you want to take it.
I can see it. I can see it. I see it. Yeah. I mean, I guess the same thing can be said for like the adaptations of like comic books to like the animated features, like an hour 15 animated feature of a story, or your 2 hour like popcorn flicks of like something that's adapted. And it's like right now, I'm really excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and when they announced who's going to be Peter Quill's father, of like, is it I'm forgetting the character name, the Living Planet, is it Mongo, I think. But I was like, wait a minute, that's not his father. His father is Jason the Spartax. Oh wait, and I just left. I'll leave it alone. So I was like, you have to stop what you know and leave it at the door, and just enjoy it for what it is. So I think you have to do that
because there are differences, even with Marvel and, an MCU, and they try to have some sort of like subtle nods like the actual comics, but I think you still have to, for a certain degree, look at them as separate entities. Otherwise, you're just going to feel dissonant all the time and just sort of sitting there in the film, just critiquing. I think that the purpose of MCU, and I admit, like, I have not read, every single comic book that ever was, and all the different versions of Spider-Man and etc. But I do know that they're supposed to be to entertain you, and it's also supposed to be, they're also supposed to be designed where you don't have to read the comics. to enjoy the films. So I think as a result, they don't play it completely straight with what has been already brought up in the comics.
Exactly,
so that everybody can see it and enjoy it.
That's a good thing. I mean, even like I know we have Spider-Man: Homecoming coming up in a few months. Like that's gonna be fun.
July.
Like that's gonna be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. And at least seeing Spider-Man in Civil War last year is like we don't have to see the origin story again on screen. We've seen it several times before on screen and cartoons. And
in cartoons, yeah. I think we're good on.
Yeah.
I think we all know that he got bit by a spider. Like, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, even the show I think just ended, Ultimate Spider-Man, which I think I'm like the only person I know that watched that show completely from beginning to end. I don't know why I find the time to just watch stuff like that. I'm like, that's entertaining.
I envy you finding the time. It's very hard for me to keep up with cartoons and stuff.
I think it's because like I just let stuff build on my DVR, and it's like I'll just take that one afternoon. I'm like, all right, this is binge like this one show, and then I'll go a month and don't watch anything else.
Gotcha.
But that's mainly how I get through things, and like that show was very lighthearted in the beginning. Then it got serious. Then it got to the point of like we're trying to match up with the MCU, and I was like, no, y'all shouldn't do that, but they're doing it. So,
I think the cartoons and everything, they should definitely, stay towards the comics, because I think that, cartoons are, especially, say what you will about 90s Spider-Man. I know, like, it's sort of like a hate watch for a lot of people, but that was my first exposure to Spider-Man, the 90s animated series.
Same here.
And even though you look at it and it's sort of cheesy, I mean, that was my introduction to the character, which then got me interested in reading, the Amazing Spider-Man series. And I read most of them because my uncle actually just happened to get them from like this garage sale. And I think it was like the summer of 7th grade. I just kind of sat there all summer reading them, and they were great. And as a result, I wasn't able to really enjoy Amazing Spider-Man, the movie, just because there were so many things that conflicted with the comics. And so that's when I had to remind myself, just like with Harry Potter, I have to separate the two. Mm-hmm. But I can say, in terms of Homecoming, like, I think that this is going to be the closest portrayal that's faithful to the comics. Like, Spidey, Peter, like, he's as young as he was, in the origin of the comics, and he has that, Bible, and he's very much a kid. I mean, critique of Tobey Maguire is sort of that he's too emotional, but also like was too old.
Yeah.
And then this, oh my god, I'm actually like forgetting his name. What's his face? The one that took over, the one that I didn't like. He was sort of
Andrew Garfield
as Peter. Andrew Garfield, he was a bad Peter, but he was a good Spider-Man. So it's sort of like Tobey Maguire as Peter was actually pretty good. But then, Andrew Garfield as Peter was horrible. Like, I'm like, you're practically, Spider-Man as Peter, and I'm like, no, they're supposed to be separate. That's kind of the whole conflict, that they're separate.
Right.
So that kind of irritated me. I only watched the first one. Though I did hear very good things that, Emma Stone was a really great Gwen Stacy, and I'm glad that they did introduce her. Because I was hoping that they would in the Sam Raimi series. But they didn't until the third one, and we don't talk about the third one.
I'm gonna admit, I'm one of those weird people that like the third one for like odd reasons. But I won't.
It's okay.
No, like maybe because I think I used to be very forgiving on things, and then like seeing like the whole dancing emo Peter wearing all black and hair so like I thought it was hilarious, but then I was like, wait a minute. As I got older, I was like, wait, that's not Venom Peter. Okay, I can deal with it, and the memes are funny, but when was the last time I watched the third movie? I have no idea. So that tells you a lot, I guess.
This was just such a big-lipped alligator moment. Like, I'm just kind of like, where did they get this stuff? And, like, why are we playing? It was just kind of like, what? Really?
Yeah,
that was kind of my take on it.
I guess,
but the memes are hilarious. I'll give it that.
Oh yeah, like just like the one of him, like what is the one they mashed him with Suicide Squad when they're all walking together down the street? Like I love that gift for
Mm-hmm.
some reason. Like okay, I could see it. I could get somebody to film me, put myself in that, or somebody do it for me. Like I can do it, and it's no problem. But yeah, it's there's something about movies where yeah, I know we always like we don't talk about certain movies. Like yeah, I don't talk about Evolution because when I watched
Oh
it,
no, 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 no,
I
no, take it away.
was saying when I watched it on TV, I was just sitting there like, is this supposed to be good? but it's like, say you will never have to see it. I'll just say this: do you mind if I like? I know you said you won't see it, but the ending. Can I just say what was really wrong with the ending of the movie?
Sure, go ahead.
It's after the credits. I think it's after the credits. Actually, one thing. Goku has to make a wish to summon the dragon. He has to pray over the wish. Then he does like this weird. The Kamehameha wave was weird, where he's folding his hands like this and like Kamehameha, and that's it. I'm like, that's not how you do Kamehameha, and it's weird. And then afterwards, you think Piccolo's been defeated. I think he's found somewhere in some house, and these ladies are taking care of him, and he's laying in a bed,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And
Wait,
I said no,
that's it.
no,
Oh no,
no,
no.
no. The
Yeah, I will
no, no,
never see that film.
don't. It's like I'm like where was the only good thing about that movie? The only good thing was the Capsule Corporation, like showing how the capsules worked. That was cool. I give them
Okay.
credit. I give them credit for that. Nothing else. But because it was like when Bulma pops one out, and I'm like, how's it gonna look? And they opened up like her motorcycle or like jet or whatever it was. I was like, that was cool, but that's it.
Mhm.
That's it. That's maybe about 10 seconds of the movie. I don't know, but there are other things like I know like there are just things that we just don't talk about of like, and I can agree with you. Spider-Man 3. I mean, I have the DVD, but I can't tell you the last time I watched it. We don't talk.
Spider-Man 3, X-Men 3, the rule of 3. It's
Yeah,
just,
X-Men
you don't know
3.
what you're going to get. Now, a lot of people, they liked X-Men 3. For me, that just put me to sleep.
Like
I
X-Men.
didn't like it.
I liked X-Men 3 except for most of it, like the ending.
Yeah, the ending was fine, but everything leading up to it, I just felt like it was slow torture.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel
Because
like
the first two were so good.
exactly. It's and I love and I'm gonna ask you about a certain movie in a few because I know we mentioned a certain movie, Get Out, but
Oh.
yeah yeah the first two X-Men movies were spectacular. Like I think X2 is still my favorite, and
X2, yep. Fist pump for that, yep.
yes,
Fist
it's
pump for that. X2 was great.
yeah.
I love X2.
But the most recent X-Men movie, uh, Apocalypse, it really made me upset. Like the ending.
That's what I heard. I heard that,
Like,
yeah.
like
Because of Rule of 3, I just assumed that that one was going to be bad, and it turns out a lot of people, like a lot of my friends, did not like it. I thought the first two good, and the third one was like,
yeah, because
I know Psylocke is going to be in it, but
yeah, Olivia. As much as I thought Olivia Munn was an okay casting choice for Psylocke, but she barely said anything.
Aw.
She
They
didn't.
hyped her up so much. I really thought that she was going to be a scene stealer.
She so the scenes that she was in when she used her it was like I forgot her powers, psionic powers I think, like visuals were good and she pulled them off, but she wasn't in the movie that much. Or like I love the beginning of the movie, like showing Apocalypse in the past, and then showing how
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, cool, my favorite X-Men villain, or actually I think it's my favorite Marvel villain. That's probably why I didn't like. That's probably
Oh,
why
well.
this why I'm disappointed. It's like okay, this is
It hit you
great.
personally.
I was like, oh, and like it's great, and then it's cool, and then Apocalypse just took a backseat to the movie, and I was like, you ain't do nothing, dude. It became Magneto's movie as usual.
Oh.
But you know,
Well.
I thought it was fine. It's just the rule of three applies.
Yeah.
Because first, I had issues with First Class too, but like weird reasons of like, you know, before we were talking about trying to separate your knowledge versus what you're actually seeing.
Yep.
That was my problem.
Yeah. See, I have never read any of the X-Men comics, so I just enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I didn't.
But I definitely heard that argument before, where people are like, "Well," and all. I think that was actually my dad's argument, because it was just like, "Well, they took this out and they did this weird, and I didn't think they were going to execute this that way." But I was just like, I just enjoyed this film, because 90s X-Men, before the X-Men films in the early 2000s, was all of my exposure to X-Men, so I was a happy camper.
Oh yeah, I was happy. I was happy too, and then I let the internet influence me, and that was the mistake I made.
Like, never trust the internet.
like there's okay. The only thing about First Class, which was weird, was having Scott's older brother be present before Scott. His younger brother be present before him. That was when I thought, well, that's weird. That's weird. And then you had Emma Stone, Emma Frost, not Emma Stone, Emma Frost. Yeah. But then in X-Men 3, you had her as a little girl. That's when I started thinking, like, wait a minute, y'all messing up here. But Days of Future Past was to retcon all that. So yeah. Yeah. But you know, I would say, like, you know, when it comes to movies, you take it or leave it. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. And it's the same for any type of entertainment. If you enjoyed it, you know, whether it's like going to a con or having that movie experience. Mm-hmm. But I think like and this would be I'm trying to do like that cool transition, but I'm like failing in my head if I'm saying it. It's like, you know, the communal experience. Like you said, you want your friends to go see Avatar. Last Airbender. It's like the communal experience will either make or break a movie.
I think so.
So that my reason saying that is like, you mentioned Get Out when we were like talking about saying finally time to talk. Yeah. So what was your experience? You know, like your movie going experience for that masterpiece?
I loved it. I loved it start to finish. I don't have any criticisms. I mean, I still felt a little surprised that it was 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, like not even like a 97, just to count for availability there. But I mean, it was great. Like, that may possibly be the best movie I've seen all year, and it's only early 2017, but it made such an impression on me. I mean, it spoke to who I am as a person. It spoke to who I study. It spoke to what I'm interested in. It was just great all around. It was just great. Mm-hmm. I mean, what I really loved most about the film, and I'm not really a horror type person, but the scariest parts are what was subtle. Those were the scenes that just had me like cringing, like the actual like kind of jump scares and the traditional like horror movie tropes that, you know, horror movie people expect and want and look forward to. Those didn't really faze me, but it was the subtleties in the conversations, the double entendres, like the allusions to like, did I really think he said this? Did she say that? What if they really mean this by saying that? And then just mind blown. And of course the ending. Yeah. I mean, the ending.
Do we want to? Okay, for those who hadn't seen Get Out, this is your spoiler warning. Okay, now this is talk spoilers. So the ending. I'll let you go ahead. The ending. Your thoughts.
So I feel kind of dumb, but I actually didn't really get the whole grandpa grandma thing until it was the whole Clockwork Orange Ludovico kind of technique where he's kind of tied to the chair and forced to watch the video that, in fact, you know, the help were actually the grandparents like inhabiting the bodies of the girlfriend's former partners. But
Yeah.
even though I didn't get that, it was like once they kind of, hit me over the head with it, I was like, oh my gosh. And I just felt myself flashing back to all of the things that were said, especially by the dad, and just
Yes.
how they were basically hitting you over the head with the truth the entire time. And it was just literally the delivery that made it seem like something completely different. And I was just like, Jordan Peele, I salute you, because that was epic. Like, I mean, I loved Key and Peele, but this, you have to direct more stuff. Like, you just, wow, the psychological, like, twists and turns, like, totally biased here, but those were just so delicious to watch and to experience. And the actual kind of the end part where, you see like the cop car coming,
Yeah.
and we're just like, oh, okay. I mean, we kind of like this, like that part I thought I saw coming. I was like, yeah, of course, like, he's just gonna get framed for everything, because Rose is gonna cry and all of that, and of course, like, he's gonna get taken away by the cops, and they're not gonna believe him saying that his girlfriend's family is like a crazy cult member and invoking slavery and whatever. But the fact that it was Rod,
yeah,
coming to save the day, like, I remember like being in the audience, everyone was just kind of like, oh, like we.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see like TSA, like I was like, oh my god,
like it's his
airport
friend.
police. You're just like, oh my god, I did not see that coming. Like I really thought it was going to be the racist cop from the beginning. So they go all full circle and like, I knew you were in trouble. Get in the car or whatever. But the fact that it was actually the best friend like coming to save the day, there's a deliberate subversion of that kind of police trope. That was just I'm like literally clapping just remembering that.
Mm-hmm. I am too. Because I was like, when we heard the siren, we were like, and Chris is choking her, and we're like, oh no. Like what you said, it's like, oh no, you're going to jail, dude. Oh no.
Yeah.
And then his friend steps out the car. We're like, and then I think the theater I was in, like everybody hollered, like, yay! Like,
yeah, there was definitely a collective gasp in the theater, like, oh my gosh, like, and then sort of like a wave of relief, like, okay. I mean, they kind of left it where we don't know what's going to happen because, again, when Rod tried to tell his account of what he thought was happening to Chris, like, the cops laughed him out of the room.
Yeah.
So that may be what happens when they, go down to talk. But either way, I mean, that was a twist. But again, the scene that stuck out to me and that will make me want to watch this film and maybe write an essay about it. And I was actually really thinking about that, writing an essay. I could write an essay on the picnic/auction scene.
Yeah,
There's so much to work with in there. There's so much subtlety and characterization and just wow. Because what was so scary about that is that if you're a person of color, like you've been to that party, or at least the way that Chris thought that this party, like what this party was supposed to be, before he realized like what this party was really supposed to be. Just looking at it and what he was literally seeing, it's like we've been there. Like whenever you've been like the one Black person or the one person of color or the one, science nerd in a room full of jocks or something, like whenever you're on the outside, like everybody can relate to that. And just how uncomfortable it is, and then that sort of relief where you think that you find someone just like you.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody can relate to, I think just about everybody can relate to that.
Oh, true. You're making me have some flashbacks of some different things, but yes, you're right. We can relate. Because I think I remember messaging you when we were talking about this discussing Get Out, and I think I just said when he went upstairs and everyone stopped talking and they stared at the ceiling.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? Wait, they all stopped talking and were listening. I was like, that was creepy.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many like little things like that. Like the dialogue itself, when you take it in a different context, I mean, it just definitely seems more menacing. Like you think like, oh, my girlfriend's parents are kind of anxious because, yeah, I'm Black and I'm different, and they're trying to, like, make me comfortable and welcome, but they're falling all over themselves because this is probably a shock on their side too. And then realizing, like, that's not even what this was about. I mean, I thought that was just really great.
And I read something that said that, like, in the beginning of the movie, when they were having when Georgina was serving tea, and when she spilled the tea, it's because the mother put her in a trance, and that's why she spilled the tea. And I was like, I didn't, like, now that I've seen the movie, that little scene made more sense to me.
Yeah, there were a lot of Easter eggs in the film that I didn't even pick up just watching it for the first time. So I'm really hoping that I'll get a chance to go and watch it again, or if it comes on Netflix, and just sit there with the pen and paper, because there are so many. I mean, even when, Rose is sort of like now exposed as the vamp or the villainess that she is, and the way that she's, eating cereal.
Yeah.
Like, that was so much symbolism there, and just
exactly.
That was a crazy scene. Or, the one Asian dude and the question that he asked, and how his bingo card looks different than everybody else, and sort of like he is with them, but he's still not with them.
Yeah, I didn't realize his bingo card was different. I didn't catch that.
Yep. And his bingo card is marked yellow. Everybody else either had, like, red, and most of the other rich people were some kind of shade of red with their clothing.
Oh, I missed some of that.
Yep, including the parents. Yep. Like a red tie or a red pocket square, or like a red scarf or shoes. But yeah, I definitely noticed that, which I thought was kind of ironic, because it was almost like they were making fun of the red state kind of people, even though it was filmed in a red state. It was filmed in Alabama, actually, but it's supposed to be set in upstate New York, which you think is blue. So it was almost sort of like you think that you only have, like, the people on, the red spectrum to worry about, but really, those people may be lost, but I'm really kind of, like, speaking to the people who were, quote, in the blue states.
Interesting.
And I may even be reading in too much into that.
Well, no, actually, I don't think you're off base, because I did read an article. I think it was in that same article, said things you might have missed, and one of the things they pointed out was, like, the red versus blue. Like, I think they said Chris had on blue and everybody else had on red.
Yep, Chris had blue.
And I thought that was interesting. And then there was an article about, having the one Asian character, and the question he asked, as you said, and how he said he's with them, but he's not actually on their level. But he's above our level.
Right.
There's so much you could take away from that movie, where, this like, the slave auction alone, and then, or the slave-esque auction alone, and then once you find out what's really happening, it's like, okay, like the gentleman that won Chris's body, like, and I started remembering the conversation he had with Chris about being a photographer. I was like, you kept talking about his eyes. So my first thought was, are they going to have an eye transplant surgery? That was my first thought. And then, as that video kept playing, I said, oh, they're gonna move his consciousness over, and then they said it.
Yep.
It's like, okay, that went deeper. So it's like,
it did.
Like, so not only do you want the body, you're gonna end up having the Black experience no matter wherever you go, because you're gonna be Black, essentially. Oh wow, I think I just took that deeper in my mind, and I thought I was going to take that deeper.
But I think that it's supposed to, because, I mean, even just looking at the imagery of, Chris in the sunken place, and when he first had that sort of tea therapy, with his girlfriend's mom, and just how that, and I'm kind of paraphrasing from articles I've read, this is definitely not from my brain, but, using it sort of like a metaphor for sort of being complicit with the structure of racism and prejudice, and how like there are sort of things that you think you see, but then you're sort of told by society and the powers that be that you don't see them, or that you shouldn't notice them because that causes conflict and it makes people uncomfortable. So you're sort of like in this headspace where, but I still interpret it as that, and then you kind of then question yourself because everybody on the outside of you is like, no, you're just seeing things, no, because even that conversation that Chris had with Rose, like, basically it's something to the effect of like, babe, like, I think your parents are like just a little weird. And Rose was like, no, I mean, my parents are square, but you're totally reading into it. Like, I think that was something in itself.
I agree. Yeah, like, like you said, you're not big on horror. Like, I'm not big on horror either. And like a friend I went with, like, we had just finished recording an episode of Bloodlines podcast, and when like as we were talking about it, like I had mentioned like I had gone to see Lego Batman, and then I mentioned oh it would be that would going to see that would be easier to get into than Get Out because Get Out is popular, and she's like, well, we should just go see Get Out. I was like, no, I'm good, and we just decided like, all right, I'll go. I won't be chicken. I'll go because I don't do horror movies, but I'll go see this one, and I'm very happy I got to see it just because of the the conversation starters alone.
Yes, and I think that there are definitely conversations that we need to have now more than ever with everything that's going on. So, just even as someone who doesn't study psychology, I think that this film has so much to offer. I thought that it was just it was beautifully shot. Like, I thought that it was very humorous, even though it wasn't really billed as a comedy. I mean, I guess maybe you could argue it as sort of like a dark comedy, a la Stepford Wives, which Peele said that he did take direct references from. But I definitely think that it's a film that's going to be talked about for a good while.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you could just as well have seen the bulk of this movie or like the main part of it in one of Key and Peele's sketches on their show. It could have been there.
Oh, is it the racist zombies?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That's still one of my funny ones. Yeah, favorite funny ones of the zombie apocalypse and the black people are safe.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was cute.
I mean, I need to get to the last two seasons, but like it's. Did you see how the show ended?
Yeah, I did actually, but I don't want to spoil it for you because it actually goes full circle.
I saw it. I just didn't want to like ruin it if you hadn't seen it. I was just wondering because
No, I had, and I remember like laughing so hard with my fiance about it, like because we kept on saying the tagline to each other like for the next 2 weeks because it was just so crazy.
Because I would say for those last two seasons, I'm like, why are you in the car? Where are you going?
Right.
Because the first two seasons, they're in the studio with the audience, and then those who don't know, like they're in the studio, right. And then season 3 and 4, they're in the car. And like you said, it comes around full circle, and I don't want to ruin it for those who hadn't seen it, but you should watch every episode of the show, and you'll appreciate the ending. Or at least, if you don't watch everything, at least you watch the first episode.
Yeah. I think the first episode really, sort of introduces the kind of humor and, they're sort of like overall, objective. And a lot of people say that Key and Peele was kind of like the answer to Chappelle. And I don't think you can really say that because, Chappelle still, I mean, like Chappelle, they had sketches and everything, but Chappelle was still like his own kind of brilliance. And believe it or not, his parents are social scientists. Fun fact. Wow. But bias aside, huh?
I say, why did not know that?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah. His parents were social scientists. I think they like taught at a university in the South somewhere. And that's where, he made a lot of like references to like psychology and sociology in his sketches.
You're right. I never thought about that, but you're right.
Yep, pretty much. But I think that if anything, they're sort of like contemporaries of Chappelle, and that they have definitely like their own kind of brand, and they have like their own kind of voice, and I think also their biracial identity, and also the time in which their show came up, kind of gives its own sort of thing. So I don't think like one is better than the other. I think that they're sort of like they're related to each other and they're connected to one another, but they're still very different.
Yeah.
I do miss the show a lot, though. I miss both shows because they were great.
I do too. I mean, after you had Key and Peele, you had Larry Wilmore's short-lived show, which was interesting. But
See, I didn't even hear about that one.
His talk show, Late Night with Larry. Because he replaced Stephen Colbert's talk show.
Oh right.
And it's the nightly show with Larry Wilmore. That's what it was. And it was interesting, but I think to a certain degree, he kind of really pushed the black card, and I kind of hate saying that, but he kind of did. Especially when he was at the he spoke with the White House Correspondents' Dinner and called Barack Obama my, I don't want to say it on the show, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I thought, Larry, I know you do that on your show, but that wasn't the right place to do that. And then not long afterwards, his show ended.
Yeah, I think our former president heard from his anger translator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the year Keegan was up there with him, he actually came up there.
Peele was Obama, and Keegan was the anger translator. And I did hear that they actually did come to the White House and, do their thing there.
Oh yeah. Did you see when Keegan actually came up there behind Barack at his speech?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So it's like that's when reality embraces entertainment, or I'm not saying that wrong, but it's.
Well, I mean, entertainment is derived from reality.
Yeah,
especially humor, especially comedy. Like it usually comes from real world experiences and situations.
I mean, even look at what Saturday Night Live is doing with Alec Baldwin. Yeah, I don't gotta say anymore, but it's funny. I mean, no matter if that's your choice or not, people find it hilarious. I love how they're skating around it without actually saying it.
It's well, I still kind of feel like we're living in a reality show right now, not to get too terribly political, but again, I'm thankful for movies like Get Out and even movies like Zootopia. For trying to sort of introduce conversations that we have long swept under the rug. So, if anything, I'm hoping that that's gonna spark the necessary conversations to kind of get things going, because I think the way that things are, they are that way because of who we are and what we chose to do as a collective populace.
Oh, I
hate to say it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I admit I still haven't seen Zootopia. I'm late.
You haven't seen Zootopia? Oh, you should change that.
I promised somebody last week I would actually watch it over the weekend, and here I am, still haven't watched it.
Well, it's still on Netflix, and it's great. I mean, it's short, but it's really funny.
If you don't hear me say anything about it by next week, remind me. But I will try my best to watch it in the next few days.
Okay, I'll repost my Casual Judy Hopps cosplay and just be like, Zootopia is the best movie of 2016. I could rewatch it all the time. I am so glad it's on Netflix. Jazz hands.
I know that's a jab at me. I mean, didn't Zootopia win Best Picture at the Oscars? I think for animation. I think it did.
I think so.
Yeah. I
Best animated feature or something like that.
Right. people want to have a conversation, and if it takes us to have a conversation through animation or talking animals, then we're gonna have it.
Well, I mean, it's something that we've been doing for a while. I mean, when you think about George Orwell's Animal Farm, or you think about Watership Down, Brass of Nim, Chronicles of Narnia, I mean, all of those are sort of, allegory to kind of discuss politics and morality and coming of age and all of those things. I mean, my mind was blown last year because somebody posted a meme about Fox and the Hound, and I was just like, that movie is interesting. I haven't seen it in a while. And then I watched a couple of clips and I realized, wait, that could be an allegory for racial segregation. And I looked it up and it was. That's exactly what the movie was. Like, the author was basically saying, like, I prefer to show this as, animals so that, people wouldn't immediately dismiss it as, bringing up race. Because especially, like, I think when the author wrote the book, it was like on the tail end of Jim Crow South or something. I mean, you could look it up and make sure I'm right, but that's pretty much what they were going for. The fact that Copper and Todd, I mean, no spoilers. I mean, I think most people have seen it, but spoilers if you haven't, they were a fox and a hound, obviously, and they were able to play together when they were young, but when they grew older, they weren't allowed to play, and they were told that that's because that's the way that things are. So Zootopia does a little bit of that, but they do it on a more humorous standpoint, and they actually talk about things more than race. So they kind of talk about social relations in general, class differences for one thing. They actually talk about sexism in the workplace. It's a lot of stuff. I think I'm done with my Disney flag.
Actually, I just found what you were talking about. Disney's The Fox and the Hound is an analogy for racism in America. America, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As a kid watching that, it doesn't occur to you. Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed when it comes to like a lot of movies like that and others. Whereas when you're a child, things like that go well over your head. And it's just like, okay, you just miss it.
Well, for example, to kind of talk about it from the sort of gender or sexism perspective, there was an episode of the Powerpuff Girls in which the Powerpuff Girls wanted to be in the League of Superheroes. And our guy, Major Glory, actually had a lot of problems with that. And now that I'm thinking about it, and especially what Lauren Foss has done and does today with, My Little Pony and everything she tries to get through that, I mean, it makes perfect sense. They were really trying to, teach little girls that, this show is supposed to tell you that if you want to be a superhero, if you want to do things that, quote, typical boys do, like, that's okay. And it doesn't make you any less of a girl, or because you're a girl superhero or a girl scientist or a girl motorcycle rider doesn't make you any any less, what is the word, qualified than a man.
Right.
And I can't remember the name of that Powerpuff Girl episode, but I do remember that that's, what it was about. Like, basically, Major Glory was like, okay, if you want to be in the League of Superheroes, you have to do, all of these tasks and all these trials, sort of like they're ripping on the mythology of Hercules. But, he kept making them harder and they were still able to do them, but he was still sort of like, you can't, like, little girls can't do this. Like, you guys are little girls. Like, you can't do all of these things. Like, I'm giving you all these impossible tasks that, my peers can't do, but they were able to do them. So I think that was absolutely a message about, sexism, but it was supposed to be in a way that kids can receive it, just kind of like Fox and the Hound with racism. I don't think that they could have made it too blatant because it was a child audience and they had to keep things simple. But with Zootopia, so I guess I have to go back one more time on Zootopia, they sort of kind of bridged the gap where they made it mature, but they still made it appeal to children at the same time. So depending on if, you're a grown adult or you're a kid, you can still kind of get some things out of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it won that award. So, yep, I think it did its job.
And I'm sitting here looking up the episode. It might be. I think it might be called Members Only.
Yes. Yes. I actually want to go YouTube it right now. Because it's Women's History Month. Like, why not?
The Association of World Supermen. Is that?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Season 4, episode 5. There you go.
There we go. There you have it.
I was just playing around with search terms. Yep, I see it. I don't know if you can see my screen or not. How is that?
Yeah, I can. Yep, and you can see Major L'Oreal butthurt. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, okay. This aired on June 15th, 2002.
Oh my gosh, wow. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that makes you feel so. Oh, I'm like, wait a minute. 2002.
That was 15 years ago. Almost 15 years ago.
I know what grade I was in. Oh, God.
Yeah, like, no. I was already old enough to know better. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, yeah. That's yeah. I'm trying to, like, I know how old I am. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So it aired on. Okay, so it premiered on Kids WB, but then the color corrected version was in 2004 on May 22nd. No. It says June 15, 2002, premiered on Kids WB. On May 22nd, 2004, and June 24, 2004, the color corrected version. Interesting. The things you find on wikis. Interesting.
I mean, Google is something else. I mean, Google was a lot different in 2002. You could now look up anything you want in 2 seconds, and you don't have to worry about the static or anything.
I don't remember Google from back then. Oh gosh, I don't remember that. See, it's like, what was the world prior to YouTube? YouTube only existed in 2000, and it started in 2005.
2005, that's correct.
What was the world before YouTube? I remember.
Neopets. There was, let's see, Neopets, Napster, LimeWire. Mm-hmm. Should I bring up LimeWire? It's kind of illegal. Oh gosh, what else?
Netgear. Everybody used Netgear.
Netgear, yeah. AIM. AOL Instant Message. That's all I can kind of remember. Oh, yeah. Gaia Online definitely was before YouTube.
Oh, I don't remember that.
The world of Gaia.
I don't remember that.
It was basically like this anime kind of like social networking / site of RB sort of RPG kind of website in which you could also kind of make it like a prehistoric Tumblr. It was all kinds of stuff. That's how I can put it.
Wow, I missed something there. I missed that one. Okay.
I had an account for one day, but I just got like all these weird messages and I just deleted it.
Black Planet was one. Remember that? MySpace I finally deleted my MySpace account last year.
Oh, congratulations. I think I deleted mine in 2008.
I don't know why I still had it. I think it was because I wanted to keep in touch with one of my friends, but I realized I never used it, and they finally joined Facebook. So I was like, fine, get rid of it now. But like, I still had my top 8. I don't know why. But it's like,
that top 8 was just to create drama, because do you ever, like, if you ever compare like your top 8 to a friend's top 8, and then you find out that they have you like on number 6 and you have them on number 2 because like either Tom is like number 1 or something next to you, and you're just kind of like, wow, I really thought that I knew.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things that was like when I finally deleted Black Planet, I was like, cool, I'm off of Black Planet. And then now MySpace, I'm like, cool, what else is left? Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'll keep it.
See, there was so much anonymity that made MySpace function. I remember like you could literally change your identity every 2 hours if you had the time, because you were in high school and you had nothing better to do after you finished your homework. Mm-hmm. And you could like, put a whole like entire like playlist of all of, like your anime opening theme songs, and you can play with the code and like have your page change like every 15 minutes. There was just so much customization and ways to waste time that really that's what I liked about MySpace the most. Not really for the social networking, because back then I was still just calling people. like the old-fashioned way.
Thank you. I'm old.
Like that was actually a thing that we used to do. Young people probably don't know about that, but yes, like you would go on, the house phone and you would call your friend and you would hope that their parent wouldn't pick up. Like we were kind of like the last generation to deal with that.
You see the corded phone behind me?
Yes, I do. That takes me back to the one that used to be on my parents' kitchen wall, like on the corner. It was like right there.
Yeah, it still works. I mean, it's good to still have a landline because when the power goes out and all you have is portable phones in your house, what you gonna and your cell phone? What you gonna do? Landline phones. Yeah. But everybody nowadays, like, use your cell phone. Your cell phone's gonna die eventually, so I'm not trying to get down.
But that computer in our pocket is so important, though. I mean, our entire life, and for some people, bank accounts are tied to that phone.
Exactly. I mean, I do have some friends that say like they prefer to text. They don't like talking on the phone, but they have a phone. Like, but your phone is used to talk. I mean, at least. I mean, I remember, like you said, actually calling people that want to talk. Like, I get it's convenient to send a text, but I really prefer to actually talk to people because there's like you can misunderstand or misconstrue somebody's text message.
Yep.
But it's easier to say, okay, well, wait, say what you meant, and I can understand it, then we're done, and we keep going. But it's weird. People, it's weird. Yeah, but you're right. We did grow up at that time where, like, what was it? What was the thing with like early cell phones? Call me back after 9. Remember that?
Yep.
It's like,
yep.
My best are free after 9.
Yep.
But during the week, I'm gonna go to bed about 10, so I really can't talk to you.
And that's why unlimited texting plans were created, because then kids just decided to text all through the day and then blow up their parents' phone bills. So that became a thing.
Because I remember when I used to only have 100 text messages a month.
Yep.
And it's like, I would really get mad if somebody sent me a one-word or one-letter text message. Okay, like, you wasted a text message. You wasted one of my messages.
Yep. No, I do remember that, and I do remember the call after 9, and oh my gosh, yep, all of those things I remembered. So I could pretty much only talk to my friends on the weekends, and I can only send a text that's like, "Hey, did you do the homework?" Yes. Okay. And then I would send another text, "Get on AIM," and another text, "K," and then we just continue the conversation on instant message.
See, and that's probably why I'm actually like when I send text messages or I send like Facebook messages, I write full sentences because I got ingrained in me not to I didn't want to waste a text message, so I just started typing out full sentences. Like it took forever, like A B B B. We didn't have these these fancy keyboards that kids have today.
Yeah, we didn't always have the QWERTY keyboards. Yep, that wasn't always a thing. You'd have to go, and then if you wanted to like change to number, then you would have to like keep pressing A 5 times to change to 1. Yep, I remember that.
See, kids, it wasn't all fun and games like you have now. I mean, look, I'm still old school. I prefer to buy CDs still. I don't care. I still buy CDs.
That kind of makes you a hipster, actually.
Really? Oh.
Well, I don't know. That's kind of a joke, but I haven't bought CDs in. I don't think I bought. Wait, no, I haven't. I can't remember the last time I bought a CD.
I can tell you.
I cannot remember.
What was the last CD I bought? I think the last CD I bought was a CD to Rogue One. Still hadn't opened it, but I bought it because I like the music.
Oh, nice. I mean, I pretty much get all of my music on Spotify, or I just like listen to things on YouTube. That's pretty much how I do it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm kind of like it's like I want to jump with I like not jumping. It's like okay, this is what the current time is. I'll adapt, but I still like buying CDs, and they're expensive because it's like old media now, or buying DVDs is like stuff that shouldn't cost that much still is very expensive now. So it's like great, but you know, it's I don't know. I guess I'm not really adapting 100%. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting.
I
But
mean, I tell you the first CD that I bought, or the first CD that I owned, because it was actually given to me on my birthday. You're gonna laugh though.
I won't laugh at you.
Okay, it was Hanson's Middle of Nowhere. I got it for my 9th birthday.
I'm not gonna.
Yep.
I'm wow. That takes me back.
Oh yeah, way back. That was the first CD, and I think shortly after that, someone else for my birthday, like later that week, got me Spice Girls, the first album.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And I played that like crazy, and I was very careful with my CDs, but I mean, I don't know. Growing up, like when I would be social, I definitely was kind of more like Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, in that I was just really naive and trusting and just wanting like everybody to be my friend. So I loaned who I thought was a friend my coveted Spice Girls CD, and she said that she would give it back in a week.
Oh no.
And she didn't give it back to me until like 3 weeks. And then I get it back and it's scratched. And not only is it scratched when I go to play it, but it actually pauses in the middle of my favorite track, which was not fair.
What did they do to your CD?
Well, she was like, oh, well, the thing is, like, I forgot that my brother was coming home, and then, like, I don't know, he wanted to borrow it or play with it. I don't know. She gave me some kind of story. Like, we were in elementary school, but either way, from then on, I said that I would never loan anybody anything unless I had my complete fill of it, and that I wouldn't care if they ever give it back to me, or that they were really somebody that I trusted that would give it back to me straight away. So if they didn't fit in those two criterias, I wasn't loaning out anything. I learned.
Yeah, I still learn that now. I don't let anybody borrow my DVDs anymore. Like, okay, nobody. I don't care if we're really close. Nobody borrows anything anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, if I let somebody borrow a book, it's because I've already read it 20 times, and if I never saw it again, I wouldn't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, with the exception of my comic books, but I know where that friend of mine lives. So if he graduates and gets his PhD before giving them back to me, I will find him and I will take them back.
What was General Zod's? I will find him. Yeah, that. Yes.
Yeah, I know where you are, and you have my comics. And I will find you. Yeah, well, I mean, they were the the series of comics March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually got them signed by the writer and the creator at Dragon Con, so they mean a great deal.
I need you to like get those back like ASAP.
Yeah, I've been reminding my friend. I said you've had them for 3 months now. Like you need to give them back. He's like, okay, well it's spring break, so it's gonna be my homework assignment to read them all this week. I said okay, because I see you next week, so you better have them back.
I'm gonna ask you next week that you get them back.
Okay. And I'll ask you if you watch Zootopia.
Deal. Virtual handshake. Deal. Okay, cool. But,
Deal.
But as we wrap things up, I do want to say thanks for joining me this evening. I would say today, but this evening.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. This was really fun.
Before you let you go, is there anything else you want to share with the interwebs about Selina the Wunderkat?
Well, right now I'm just sort of like on a cosplay hiatus. I'm really just kind of focusing on school, so I'm really just trying to share a lot of other cosplayers, but I'm hoping to put together something Marvel related for Free Comic Book Day in May, so we'll see how that goes.
And where can people find you online?
So I'm active on Facebook, Selina the Wunderkat. It's just all one word, like Tribe Called Quest, and it's on Facebook. And you can also reach me by the same name on Instagram.
Gotcha.
Same handle, both places. Very simple.
Gotcha.
Unlike my science.